What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Pitching Ninja's Filthiest Pitches of the Day. I am Pitching Ninja, and I'm here with a awake and lively Will Leahey. It's a weekend. Will's just nuts on the weekend.
Boom. You got it, Ninja. So yesterday, the Braves came to the Bronx and put a beat down on the Bombers, 8-1 on the back of Chris Sale. And he had another stellar performance, Ninja, and he's having a great season. And it kind of got us talk a little bit here off camera about Chris Sale's Hall of Fame worthiness, whether we think he can get in or not. He's one of my favorite pitchers of all time for his work with the Red Sox and what he was doing actually prior to that too. But Ninja, make the case. You think he's Hall of Fame worthy or what?
Well, I mean, I think he needs a little bit more. He is certainly at first I thought about Chris Sale, Hall of Famer. Does he have the stats to do it? You look at him, he's got a lifetime 3.09 ERA, and we're not talking over a few seasons. That's pretty good. And in fact, it's better than Greg Maddox's ERA. He's second all-time in K per nine, all-time in the history of baseball in K per nine. That's pretty solid. Also, he's sixth all-time in WHIP, which is a legit stat to measure a pitcher. That shows his dominance. I still think he's got some work to do. I mean, a Cy Young this year would be big. I think he needs some awards, maybe a championship. Another championship would give him a shot. Interestingly, he doesn't think he has a shot, giving very big deference to Mark Burley, who, if you look at it, I think I can make a better case for Sale for the Hall of Fame than Burley. I think he's got some work to do, but I don't think it's ridiculous if he can pitch a few more years to think he can get there, because some of his stats in the history of baseball are just outlandish. What do you think, Will?
So I think we would have to adjust the measuring stick a little bit because we've had such stringent requirements in the past. The 300 wins had always been a big one, which is, probably never even going to get reached again. So I think we need to really just reset a couple things here because it's been really tough for guys to get in recently. And to me, he is the Hall of Fame caliber pitcher. He had the 7 straight seasons of being an all-star. He had a tremendous run on the White Sox before he even got to the Red Sox, and then played a crucial part in their World Series in their ring. And those stats you mentioned are crucial too. So, I think if he makes another all-star team this year, like you said, wins a Cy Young, and then maybe next year does again another all-star team, you're a 9-time all-star, and you have some of those all-time ranks. I don't care if he has, he only has 130 wins right now, but I'd like to see him, not just because I love him, but I'd like to see players of his caliber make it in the Hall of Fame.
I agree with you. I know all-stars are kind of squirrely, but to me, it shows what your peers or what the people during that time thought about you. And if you're on the all-star team that many times, that means you're one of the best pitchers in the league for an extended period of time. That, to me, is what you look at for a Hall of Famer. But again, we've got some more work to do if you're Chris Sale. But it was something that was interesting. We talked about it off camera. I thought, let everybody else share their opinions in the comments. I think it's a good topic. Chris Sale was really good yesterday at 8 Ks in 5 innings, giving up 1 run on only 1 hit. He had these heaters up to 98 miles an hour, had these wicked sliders, of course, and painted with this slider, as well as this nasty changeup. He also had this nice little K strut, a little subtle K strut after his last K, almost like, look, the Yankees dig me a little bit, like Yankee Stadium, check me out. Here's an overlay of Sale's 98 mile an hour fastball and 80 mile an hour slider, and you can see what makes him one of the most feared pitchers in baseball. And to our debate, after the game, Juan Soto was asked about Chris Sale, and Soto had this to say about Chris Sale and his career.
What made Chris Sale such a tough matchup tonight? Do you ever watch his career? He's a great pitcher, unbelievable pitcher. He knows how good his stuff is, and he just make it work. Put the pitches where he wants to, and keep the guys off balance.
Sale outdueled Carlos Rodon, who had 3 Ks in 3 2/3 innings, but gave up 7 runs. He had these sliders. Now to the rest of the whip around the league, Jose Quintana was really good yesterday with 8 Ks in 6 1/3 innings, giving up no earned runs. He had these inside fastballs jamming hitters, as well as his changeup and these curveballs, and got 7 swings and misses on his curveball. As the Cubs got grimaced by the Mets, 11-1. Shota Imanaga was not Mike Imanaga II yesterday. He had 3 Ks in 3 innings, giving up 10 runs on 11 hits. It's almost like he was glove signing his pitches to the Mets. His ERA went from 1.8 to 2.96 overnight. Part of it was due to his fastball velo. It was down a couple of ticks, which is significant when you're living at the top of the zone. I also think the Mets took away his fastball by just keying on it. You can practice these things on machines before the game, practice swinging a little bit above the fastball because Shota's fastball tends to stay up and perceived to rise above a normal fastball. So Mets had a great plan, took away that fastball, and just shelled Shota.
Mike was due for a stinker.
He was, but you see here, he looked really perplexed about what was happening to him. Still had an interesting reaction. I give him that. Jordan Montgomery had 5 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 2 runs as the D-backs beat the Phillies 5-4. He had this changeup and curveball for a sword. He faced Ty Walker, who had 3 Ks in 4 innings, giving up 4 runs, and had these front door 2-seamers and curveball. Jack Flaherty continued to be really solid with 8 Ks in 5 2/3 innings, giving up 1 run. He had these fastballs, knuckle curves, and sliders, and the slider was the pitch of the game for him. He had 7 swings and misses on his sliders. He faced the trap king, Eric Fetty, who had 3 Ks in 7 innings, giving up 2 runs, had this cutter. Did the White Sox win? No, baby. Partly because they forgot how many outs there were for the last out of the game. Like, if you did this in high school, you'd be running polls until you puked. But for the White Sox, this is just what they do.
I'm not sure the White Sox know how to play baseball, Ninja.
I think you might be right. This is just god-awful, terrible stuff. I don't know how you do this. In a close game, a 2-1 game, you forget how many outs there are.
They're still on pace to be the worst team in 62 years.
Ryan Pepio had 3 Ks in 3 1/3 innings, giving up 2 runs, and this curveball and changeups as the Rays made the Pirates walk the plank 10-3. Chris Paddock had 3 Ks in 4 2/3 innings, giving up 3 runs and had these changeups. He faced Joey Estes, who had 1 K in 6 innings, giving up 2 runs and had this slider, helping the A's to slide by the Twins 6-5. Landon Knack had 2 Ks in 5 scoreless innings, giving up 2 hits and had this changeup and slider. But the Dodgers the Dodgers lost 3-2 to the Angels. That was my Sharona.
Thanks for clarifying that.
He faced Patrick Sandoval, who had 1 K in 2 1/3 innings, giving up no runs, but he appears to be hurt as he's shaking his arm here. This sucks for Sandoval.
And Ninja, in that game, we actually had our dog of the day. It comes from our Lord and Savior, Shohei Ohtani, just rubbing it in the Angels' faces that he's no longer with the squad. His Majesty blasts this ball 455 feet into the LA night. That's your dog of the day.
I saw that live when it happened and had a feeling it was going to be the dog of the day. The commander, George Kirby, had 5 Ks in 7 innings. Will, did George Kirby have any walks yesterday?
Absolutely not.
No, he didn't, because George Kirby doesn't walk shit. This is just not what he does. He did give up 2 runs, had these fastballs, including this elevated fastball, as well as these sliders. Here's an overlay of his 2-seamer and 4-seamer, which I found interesting because you can see these pitches are about the same velo, but they end up in vastly different places. And the Mariners do appear to be coaching this guy. I did one with Brian Wu doing the same thing. They like to tunnel their fastballs and 2-seamers. It just gives hitters another look to worry about. Despite George Kirby pitching well, the Marlins still swam by the Mariners 3-2 behind Trevor Rogers, who had 5 Ks in 6 1/3 innings, giving up 2 runs and had this changeup. DJ Hurd had 5 Ks in 3 2/3 innings, giving up 3 earned runs. He had this fastball, changeup, and here's a front view of his mechanics to show why he's a little funky. A little tough crossfire action here for hitters. He faced Dakota Hudson, who had no Ks in 3 innings, giving up 8 runs. The Rockies wished he was pitching in the Dakotas or on the Hudson instead of Coors Field, as the Rockies lost 11-5 to the Nats. Dylan Cease had 10 Ks in 4 2/3 innings, giving up 4 runs. He was pretty nasty. He had these fastballs, sliders, picked up a bunch of swords on his slider, as well as his knuckle curve, as the Padres spanked the Brewers 9-5. Colin Ray had no Ks, so poor old Colin Ray. Oh, that last note.
Not your best, Ninja. And get into Pro Tools and try and fix it up for you.
Yeah, thanks, man. Fix that because my voice is today, Will.
It's shit today, it's shit other days too, Ninja.
It's true. It's nothing. Yeah, nothing's changed. Carlos Carrasco had 7 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 1 run, lowering his ERA to 5.4. He had this two-seamer and wicked sliders, as well as his changeup, as the Guardians grounded the Blue Jays 7-1. He outdueled Yariel Rodriguez, who had 1 K in 1 1/3 innings, giving up 4 earned runs and had the splitter. Nasty Nate Eovaldi had 6 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 2 runs, and helped the Rangers dethrone the Royals 6-2. He had these fastballs up to 97 miles an hour, and here's a home plate view of his fastball. That gets on you quick, as well as his curveball. He faced Brady Singer, who had 4 Ks in 5 innings, giving up 1 run on 3 hits, and had these nasty sliders. The Astros and the Orioles just had a run fest here. I don't know what to call it, but they're just a freaking 25 runs, Will. This shouldn't happen. The Astros ended up winning 14-11. Grayson Rodriguez had 8 Ks in 5 innings, but gave up 7 earned runs. He did have these fastballs, curveballs, wicked changeups, picked up a sword. He faced Jake Bloss in his major league debut, the Astros' 10th rated prospect, who had 2 Ks in 3 2/3 innings, giving up 2 runs, had this fastball for his first major league K and this cutter, but left the game early due to a shoulder issue. The Astros pitching has had a ton of injuries.
Also, a little hitter's note, Adley Rutschman, 5 for 5 this game, putting an absolute beatdown on the right field grass over here. Kind of leaves me wondering if the shift wasn't banned, how many of these would have ended up being hits. A couple probably would have been, but potentially over 5.
Yeah, it's true. Andrew Abbott had 10 Ks in 5 2/3 innings, giving up 2 runs. He had this fastball and picked up a sword. In fact, his fastball was dominant yesterday. He had 14 swings and misses on his fastball. His changeup was his second best pitch yesterday. Picked up a bunch of Ks on that too, as the Rangers cut past Cutter Crawford and the Red Sox 5-2. Cutter Crawford had 7 Ks in 6 1/3 innings, giving up 3 earned runs and had the splitter, and of course, cutters. Now onto my filthiest relievers. Tom Cosgrove had this sweeper that had over 20 inches of break. Carlos Estevez had this fastball and slider. Jason Foley had this wicked slider. Porter Hodge had this sick sweeper. And Ryan Stanek had this slider and splitter. My top 5 filthiest pitches of the day yesterday. At number 5, we have Dylan Cease and these sliders picking up swords. At number 4, Jack Flaherty and his sliders. At number 3, Ben Joyce and these heaters, 101 to 103 miles an hour. Volunteer fireman throws absolute flames. At number 2, Chris Sale and his sliders and this overlay of his slider and fastball. And at number 1, we have medieval Mason Miller. Yep, the Reaper throwing this 93-mile-an-hour changeup. I mean, geez, does he really need to do this to hitters? He threw a splinker one of his last appearances, throws 104, has these wicked sliders, and then throws a 93-mile-an-hour devastating changeup. Dude, save something for the rest of the league. Like, some other pitchers need to be featured. And now, my pitching ninja moment of Zen. We have both an intentional sexual reference here by Bryce Harper.
You gotta give him that huck and spit on that thing. You get me?
As well as an unintentional reference. Are we not doing phrasing anymore? Nomar Garcia Parra. What are we doing here?
And then Miguel Rojas, man, his hand is so soft. Just one day I would like to know what that felt like. Just one day. Man. I'm not asking for a lot. Just one day. Just let God, his hands up.
1-0 on Vargy.
My picks of the day today are a 3-leg parlay. I'm going to start out with Jared Jones for 6 Ks or more, then take Logan Gilbert for 6 Ks or more, and top it off with Jordan Hicks for 4 Ks or more. What would your picks of the day be?